Hi everybody, it's day 4 of gherkins. So here's our gherkins from yesterday. Woo, everything is stinky. This current brine that's being used in here is super high sugar. So yeah, I had to really clean this place yesterday because the ants were loving it. So what I did yesterday was I put we call these burpee tops. They're fermenting tops. And it means that if you build up any kind of pressure in there for fermentation, it can leak out, but yet it keeps everything healthy and happy and stuff like that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to drain this. I'm going to put the bag in the bottom here, because that won't hurt anything. And I'm going to drain this in here. And they did not fall out, so I'm not going to make them come out. That's my theory. I'm trying to be a little less messy today. I'm going to add more sugar and more vinegar, and I'm going to bring this to a boil. And when that is done, boiling, I'm simply going to pour that over the top of this. Going to repeat the same thing for the zucchini. And yeah, so I'll be back in just a minute. We have to wait for that to boil. The brine is boiling. And I'm going to just pour it back in here. Drag out the bag first so it doesn't splot. Splashing is not a good thing when it comes to something like this. Okay. Woo! Here we are. I'm going to put this bag in the top. Ouch, ouch, ouch. He's hot. There we go. Now you don't have to have anything fancy like this to be able to do this. We happen to own it, and it was an easy solution. I could have just kept this in the original container that I started with. I could have just left it in the casserole and it would have been fine. It takes less room in a canning jar than it does in a casserole, to be honest. And my counter is really full right now of various stuff. I've got more sweet potato slips growing. I've got a pile of dill seed drying. I've got some brine for leftover from doing dill pickles that I'll use later. Just a lot going on. I don't need anything else up here. We try and keep things that are in process visually close by. So, you know, there's tomatoes that I'm checking every morning to see if they're ready to go into the freezer, and then when I get enough, I'll do another batch of tomato sauce. That sort of thing. So it can be a bit of a challenge sometimes, but it is what it is. This is that busy time of year when you're just plain sort of up to your armpits if you're doing any kind of gardening or preserving, and that's fine. It's the price we pay for having yummy stuff later. I'm setting up the juice from the zucchini the same way as I did the juice from the pickles. Well, they weren't pickles before. From the cucumbers. And I'm doing the same exact thing that I did, because this is part of the process of experimenting with this too. So we'll see what happens. I've never done the gherkin style processing with zucchini before, so we'll see how that goes. And I know Henry loves the gherkins with cucumbers, so I can't, you know, it depends. They seem the same to me, but I'm not a pickle person, so so I can't be a judgment on that one. Nothing like waiting for a pot to boil. So basically I'm going to do the same thing with this as I did with the other one. I'm going to pour the liquid in on top, stick the little bag back in there to hold everything under the liquid, because usually one or two, in this case zucchini, in that case pickles, well, cucumbers I want to call them pickles, will tend to float. I want to keep everybody under the brine, and we let them set overnight again. I covered them up with a cloth so that they're tucked away. And that's all there is to it. Stir this just a little bit to help the sugar dissolve. I'm having a little waste with this because I don't really have a need for quite as much as I'm making. I actually reduced the amount of stuff I'm adding because it doesn't make sense to throw a bunch of it away every day. But I kept the same proportions so that I'm getting as much sugar and vinegar in as needs to be there. Okay, this is now boiling. So I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to do the same exact thing that I did last time. I'm going to turn off. And then I'm going to pull this out rather. So I don't want it to splash. And I'm going to add in as much as I need to fill that. Push this out. Stuff it on top to keep everything under the brine. And plop this little guy on. I could just use a regular canning lid that's not on super tight. I just happen to own this, so, and in case you're wondering where I bought it from, I actually bought this at Layman's a couple of years ago, but I have since found them. Our Ace Hardware store, a couple of towns away, has a wonderful little canning section with jars and all kinds of stuff. And they have them there too. So, not just available through specialty stores. Okay, that's it. This guy will go up here, same as his buddy. He will get covered up for the night. And tomorrow, we'll come back and do the next step. As you can see, this is not complicated, it just requires discipline. Every day you have to do something. And I forget how many days this is. This is day 4. I think it takes a total of 6 days. I could be wrong, it could just be just 5. But just something every day, you just have to make sure you do it every day. I try and get it done every morning before lunchtime so that it's on a pretty even schedule. And then I get on with other things. See you tomorrow. Hi everybody, it's Irene with BrainStormAcres again, and it is day 5 of making gherkins. So here we have our jars. This guy's got the cucumbers, so we'll do him first. I'm taking out the spice bag. Toss that in first. So once again, all we're doing is we're adding more sugar and more vinegar. Now I'm going to bring this to a boil. You can tell this is the spoon I've been using for making pickles this year because it's yellow. Turmeric permanently stains wooden food. The brine is now boiling. I'm going to turn that off. going to take the bag out of here. Rule number 1, don't inhale the vinegar. Yeah. Put the bag back in on top. Okay. So that guy is ready to go. And he will sit overnight again. Probably takes longer to talk about it than it does to do it. That guy up here. Cover him up. And we'll see you back here tomorrow. Day 6, gherkins. We're going to finish this up today. Now, if you look at everything we've done so far, on a daily basis, it really doesn't take much time. It takes more time to make a video of this than it does to do it. So, remember, you'd only be doing half of what I'm doing to start with, because I'm doing 2 batches of stuff here. So, you'd only be doing 1. And as long as you're only doing 1, this is a piece of cake. It's keeping the stuff separate that's kind of a pain in the you guess where. But, so what we do today, we're going to take this bag out and squeeze him. Squeeze him. Gonna dump all the liquid in here. Let it drain for a minute. Now my hands are clean. Clean, 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 clean. Always clean, 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 clean. That way I don't have to worry about trying to get a spoon or something. Counter's also clean, 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 clean. I'm going to add some sugar. First I'm going to wipe my hands off, which are sticky. I'm going to add some sugar. Now, when this is done boiling, I am going to these are clean. I just got them all set to go. They just came out of the dishwasher. I'm going to pack these little guys in here. And when I'm done with the boiling, that boiling liquid is going to be poured over the top of these, and then they're going to be processed in a hot water bath just like any other pickle. I still want to do this right. And by right I mean I have to have a 1/4 inch headspace and all that sort of good stuff, following basic canning rules. Because there's no point in spending all this time doing something and then screw it up by not finishing it right. It's not hard, the rules are not complicated, but there are rules. And they're there for a reason. I am heating up this water. It's going to take a little while for it to get there because the water was room temperature, although it just started making more noise. That's a good sign. I'm going to pour this boiling liquid in. It's a brine, it's a sugar brine. Now you'll see why I specifically chose this pot. Because it's got a really good pouring spout on it. It's probably the best pouring spout I have on anything, including my Pyrex. Paper towel. Hot water. Clean the rim. We clean the rim because even the smallest bit of goop can keep the lid from sealing. That dark pink area on there is the seal. Tight. Finger tight though. I mean, like I have sturdier fingers than your average person, but I'm not like arm wrestling it tight. But I am making it tight. Once in a rare while I will hit a ring that has got some rust on the inside of it and it will not screw down correctly. You know what happens to those bad babies? They go in the trash. Because after you can for a while, you wind up with like 9 million rings. And Rusty rings could be problematic when it comes to canning. They can actually keep your thing from sealing quite right. You do not want that. The whole point of this, after all this labor, is to have a properly sealed jar of pickles. These will be put directly into the canning kettle. And as soon as the water is boiling, these will be processed for 20 minutes. They are normally processed for 10, but because we are at high altitude, we have to process for 20. I have an extra jug of white vinegar with me because if I had wound up short on the amount of brine that was available, all I would have done is topped everything up with a little bit of white vinegar. It's not going to hurt anything, and it's better to do that than to have the stuff be short. The white vinegar keeps the acidity up, making the pickles safe, which is the whole point. The mechanisms that make this type of pickle safe are the sugar and the vinegar. Some also rely heavily on salt. Both sugar and salt inhibit bacterial action. And then you're also boiling. Now, boiling kills a lot of stuff, but it doesn't kill everything. And what keeps it safe, other than boiling, is the acidity level. And you have nice acid vinegar here. I'm going to lower the rack into the water. I'm actually going to raise the level of the water a little bit. It's too low. I want at least an inch, preferably 2, over the top. Now I need to wait until this comes to a boil. Then I'll be cooking it 20 minutes. Then we let it set for 5 minutes. And then I'll be ready to pull them out. So I'll see you then. We just spent 20 minutes in a hot water bath. And now we're going to pull them out. See how we do. Remember, always open the pan away from you. See that heat, steam coming off there? One thing to get a facial, another thing to get a steam burn. There we go. 8 jars. 4 of gherkins made with cucumbers and 4 of gherkins made with zucchini. So we'll let those cool overnight. Then I'm going to take off the rings, mark them, and store them. Now I take those rings off because if at any point the seal fails, I want to know. And those rings can create what they call a false seal. You think it's sealed because it's not leaking, but it might not be really sealed. When you go to open a canned jar of anything, it should go pop. If it doesn't go pop, it may not be safe. So, as these cool down, we should start to hear them going pop, pop, pop as the seals go down. Quite the process. Not hard at all. Just takes time. Figure 15 minutes a day, except for the first day when you're doing all the veggie prep and stuff like that. And if I was just doing one kind of vegetables, if I had all cucumbers or something, it really wouldn't have been that big a deal. The time consumer for me was having to do the cucumbers and then rinse things out and do the zucchini. Because I wanted to, they taste different, and I didn't want any contamination just in case he decided that he didn't like the way the zucchini tasted. So if I was just doing one or the other, piece of cake. Just a couple minutes a day. And I keep a card that tells me exactly where I am in the process. Day 1, day 2, day 3, and what I have to do. That lets me know, little checklist. Every morning I go, oh, okay, that's what I got to do today. So hope this inspires you. Don't be afraid of things like this. Just make sure you understand everything you're going to do. Make sure you have all the ingredients up ahead, because it'll say the recipes will usually say something like 6 cups of this divided. What? What does that mean? Well, it means you're going to use a piece of it at a time. So they want you to know how much you need in total. And in this case, because I was making a smaller batch, I didn't even use everything they had there. I was always very careful, though, that if I cut something, I cut it so that the proportions between the various ingredients stayed the same. because I want the flavor profile to be where it's supposed to be. So, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, because we're going to be doing lots more. Today's Friday, when I'm recording this, so it's pizza day. That's why I have my pizza stuff out. But I have lots more dills and other stuff to make. It's going to be a busy weekend. Have a good one. And until next time, bye.